Then our next session is going to be Cristiano Galvao with some Python and Excel, which is another interesting session for me. So I'll be looking forward to that. And that will be coming up on the hour. Okay, so coming up next, we have Cristiano Galvao with Python and Excel. Let's just do an introduction for Cristiano. He is a senior data analyst and trainer, originally from Brazil and now based in New York City, USA. With 2 decades of experience helping people organize data and gain valuable insights, Cristiano has been recognized by Microsoft with the MVP award for the past 6 consecutive years. He is also a LinkedIn learning instructor and the founder and organizer of Excel Weekend and New York Excel Meetup. And before we get started with Cristiano's session, we're just going to play one of our charity videos.
Hello, I'm Catherine Newitt, and on behalf of Some Product, Microsoft, the MVPs and other technology experts, welcome to Excel Virtually Global 2025. And remember, it's for charity. Now, you may have looked around our website already, but I'm not sure you've noticed all the words, so let me take a moment to run a few past you. Microsoft's most valued professionals, or MVPs, are technology experts who passionately share their knowledge with the community. They're always on the bleeding edge and have an unstoppable urge to get their hands on new, exciting technologies. This virtual conference, now in its 11th year, presents Excel, Data Platform, and PowerPoint MVPs, together with other acknowledged experts from Microsoft and/or around the globe, to present, answer questions, and demonstrate the future of Excel and how it will make your life easier, both personally and professionally. Most sessions will be recorded, so you may watch them later on the Some Product YouTube channel. There are no medals for staying up to watch the entire event live. From your own favourite chair, bring a laptop, an inquisitive mind, and your sense of humour. Be prepared to learn. And remember, it's for charity. The presenters have all kindly donated their time to make this as informative and entertaining an event as possible. Therefore, we would be grateful if you could make a donation to a charity of your choice and advise us in US dollars how much you pledged, as we'd love to keep track and keep you updated. This is an honesty thing. Whatever you do, it will simply be between you and your conscience. If you'd like to tell us what you've donated, could you please use the QR code on screen now or type in the bit.ly link at the bottom, remembering it's case sensitive. That's bit.ly/EVG2025 charity. Thanks for listening and enjoy Excel Virtually Global 2025.
Okay, Cristiano, if you'd like to get ready and share, you can share your screen now. Remember to, if you're doing any videos, share with sound, but otherwise it should be fine.
Sharing the screen.
Yeah, I'm just putting it live now. There you go. You're now live.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon for the others who are far away from here. I'm Cristiano, and this will be a hands-on demonstration about Python in Excel. You can share my camera. Yeah. Let's do it like a real conversation. Feel free to share my camera as well. I could have recorded as other years that I participated. Firstly, thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here. But this time, I wanted to do something more casual. This is intended to be a short session, but with interaction and more casual than other opportunities. For those who want to connect with me in advance, here is the QR code for my LinkedIn. I'm reading the comments. Okay. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find me through my name as well. If you prefer to find by name, Cristiano Galvao. I'm LinkedIn learning instructor. I'm always posting content about new features of Excel. And the next slide, next and final slide, because I will be using Excel the whole time here, is the content that you can download so that you can open the same files, you will see the same scripts. So feel free to scan this code. Not sure if they see the chat, if I drop the link there, so feel free to scan.
Attendees can't see the chat, but if you put it there, I'll forward it into the Q&A as a discussion where they should be able to see it. So,
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm putting the chat as well. So you do the trick from your side so that they can see through the Q&A panel. And then just an extra moment to ensure that people will extract the files, because this link will lead you to a page. You cannot download from the immediate page. You click the Python in Excel zip, and then from the second page, you will download the zip file. Once you download, don't forget to extract the file from inside this zip one. So you will have more freedom to save your changes. And then that's it. PowerPoint. I'm closing I'm gonna minimize if in case you need something from here. All right. Excel, Python in Excel. Let's start from something interesting here. Once I was mentioning QR codes, I'm opening new file templates, and let's see what Excel has to me inside here about Python. You can do the same. Once you open your Excel, go to templates and see what is related to Python. We have a QR code generator here provided by Microsoft. Spoiler, I was testing before the session here, and it wasn't working properly, but it's interesting anyway to see how the template was made. It contains Python inside. You can take a look at the code and learn more from the example. Things are live here, so I cannot speed up this. Maybe later they can. But once I know that these things used to happen when we are live, I have the same file here in my folder. This is like those culinary TV shows. We have to have the cake baked in advance. So I could have written my URL file here. Let me copy and paste. I could have used this template because it generates the QR code by using Python, which is from here on hide. And then you have these cells here that I'm going to explain a bit better, but just opening the formula bar, you can see here some code. Look how they do this here. Lots of different parts that will compose this final one here. This QR code is being generated by this script. For those who never coded in Python, don't be scared by the way the script looks here, because the good news is that we have the formulas tab, and then we have this editor, which is much better than the formula bar. I don't like to code here. Usually I put 2 or 3 rows visible, but then the Python editor is much better to see and write code. All right. You can even filter by current sheet or all sheets, because every tab can contain its own Python code. Similar to VBA, when we think about the modules, the way we organize the code is per tab. So if I filter here, I can see what is inside here. We can see even the cell, and then we can follow what's going on without having to open each one here directly from the sheet. All right. I'm not going to teach Python here, but I'm going to show examples, tweak some examples, and then I have something for the end that will help those who don't know how to code in Python. Well, this is one of the templates. Let me close this one because the image was not really leading us to the desired link. But we have other good template here. Python. No. The templates here. You have to click more templates, and then you search. If you don't do this, you will end up opening a recent file containing Python on the name. Here is the random data generator. This one is working. This was provided by Microsoft, and you can create your own workbook based on this template. Let me provide the explanation from the example, then the code after that. We have name and cities. The names and cities from your own computer will be different. If they are the same as mine, you can play the lottery and win, because you are really lucky. It's impossible, basically, to have the same combination. If I press, not F9, let me do something different. Let me click company, job, and then after a matter of seconds, less than a second actually, we have different examples here. Really interesting. This is not using VBA. There's no VBA here. Only Python and the library called Faker. This is a good library to create fictitious data, and this is especially useful when we are trying to test or present a certain model. Because of all the new data regulations, we don't want to expose private data in any way. So how to create this random generator, or how to create random data? If you don't want to use this generator, if you think this is not enough, you can unhide the tab. I did it quickly here. And then we can see the code inside. But as I told you, it is a bit harder to see and read properly all the code from the cells. So what we should do here, formulas, editor, and then we have a better tool to understand what's going on here. So inside B1, we have some imports. Pandas, PD, this is a classic one. And then the faker. This is necessary to work with that particular set of code. Here is a dictionary that is addressing labels and what is inside. On B3 is the definition of the function. This is interesting. If you learn, once you learn that you can have this structure here, there is a symbol here. It was right over the scroll bar and wasn't visible by blue. And then you have, let's say, if you have a number, your argument is a number, you could return, for example, your number plus 1. Or if you want to do something better, you can follow the example here that is using 3 arguments. So this function is receiving the number of rows, columns, methods, and then in the end, it's returning a data frame. The comments will help you understand, but this is basically what is going on here. And then there is a loop here to perform the operation per column. This is similar to a for each in VBA. And then here is the data frame. There is more comment than code here. And then you can create this random data generator. Let me open my examples here so that we can show what's possible. But firstly, let's suppose you want to create your own functions now. How can you write your code in a cell? One of the ways, let me copy and paste here. One of the ways is you choose one cell, you type equal pi and parentheses. Once you open the parentheses, the symbol here changes to Python, and you can write your own code here. For example, a equal 1. If you press enter, you continue coding, and for very simple code is easy to write this cell. If you want to close this, you press Control Enter. And then if you want to reuse those variables in another cell, you can type equal pi, parentheses, and let's say C. And then once you have Control Enter, that C is making a reference to this previous C here. So the code continues to process across different cells and different worksheets as well. All right, but of course you can do something better here, like operations. And then you can also create your own functions. For example, equal pi, def my function x. Return the double. All right. And then once I want to call the function, I call my function, for example, this. Then Control Enter. I can also make reference to an existing cell, for example. Rather than using a hard-coded number here, I can click this cell. You will see that the reference doesn't come directly as B9. It comes with Excel and this reference here. There is a special reason for this because of the way Python reads the data. I'm going to explain better when I show the other example. So from the editor, you can also edit it the same in a different way. It's more appropriate for complex code, and then you have more space and better tools here, such as number line, and other resources. Well, there is an intermediate between the Py function and the editor, which is the shortcut. So Control Alt Shift P. That's a lot, but it works. Control Alt Shift P. All right, so let me show what I did here. There is an initialization as well that now it's editable. It was not until very recently. You can write code here as well. And the difference between writing here and writing inside the cells is that this one here will be executed once you open the file. So it will be processed once, and it's interesting to use this for particular examples. We can create functions here as well. One of the cases is one related to strings. We can create our own functions here. So let me write one here. Not define, right? And then you have the reverse result here. We can use the Python function here in a table. Rev and the name here. And then once I press Control Enter, it will spill across the column. And then in this case, I wrote something wrong here. But it was correct here on this other example. It's missing the parentheses. Let me fix. And then I have the correct results. All right. This is a very simple example, but if you start implementing the other possibilities from Python, such as loop, conditionals, you can create something really fun and complex, and your productivity will increase a lot. And you are not using VBA, which is not compatible with the online solutions anymore. So let's close this first draft here. And then let me open the first file. There is the case one. The folder is named in Portuguese. I'm seeing flor de iris means iris flower. This is a classic example from flower species that you find all over the internet when studying data science. If you go to Kaggle, open datasets, you can find these everywhere. And then one of the purposes of this dataset is to identify the species based on behaviors, characteristics, such as the length, width, the petal, and then you can classify those species. This is the original data set, and I have some examples of things that can be done with Python here. Look at this series of charts. This was done by this code here. And then once we have the code, we have the option to display the picture in cell. For example, you can display plot over cells. So this will be floating like a classic chart, like a picture. The first example here, that is only a single line of code, surprisingly is the one that has more charts, because this is called a pair plot. So you will have a series of different charts to try to explain the distribution of your data set. Very useful. So let me zoom in this here. This is the code that does this. And then how you can figure out this code. Oh, I wanted to learn this code. There is plenty of Python resources out there. I recommend LinkedIn Learning, and then there are others, Coursera and YouTube. And even at Microsoft, if you search at the tech community, you will see lots of good examples. And then once you understand the basics, I recommend you to follow a guy called Owen Price, that of course you know. This guy is really involved in Python, and he works in the Anaconda team now. So he really shares interesting resources about this for those who are learning already. So let me show you some interesting pieces of code here. For example, this line here is particularly interesting because if you try to trace the source of this data set, this is not coming from a CSV. This is not coming from another Excel workbook. This is not coming from the internet. So where is this data? It's coming from the library, because it's one of the classic examples. So you will see here data sets and then load iris. This is doing the magic. But for commercial data sets, you will not do it this way, because it is a very unique data set. It's not everywhere elsewhere. You will have to load your files. And then here comes a difference between the Python that you will learn on the tutorials and the Python in Excel. This is a limitation, but I will show you how to overcome. You don't have, let me show you, I have a PPT here, a PowerPoint file from other opportunities. I'm opening here. The PDF is better. I'm going to show you. Let's suppose I want to load one of the files that we have on the material that I shared with you. So for example, let me see one of them. Walmart. Yes. One of the files that I have is Walmart sales CSV. It is a text file. How could we work with that? We first import by using Power Query data from text CSV. And then we import here. Right? Not necessarily we should load it to a table. We can just load as a connection, but in this case, in a way that we can show the data set, I will allow Power Query to load into a table. And then if we want to use that, I ended up minimizing accidentally. This is the data set that I loaded. If we want to manipulate this data set now by using Python, we use that Excel function from Python. So let's say I have this need. I can create a data set here. At this, sorry. That was the file that I was trying to open before. So I'm using the Excel function from Python, and this is the name of the connection that you need to observe when importing data from Power Query, with Power Query, okay? Do not use those generic names, file 1, table 2. And then if you want to see certain data, you can check here the array preview, for example. It will give you the first 5 rows and the last 5 ones. So almost 7,000 rows. You can check, of course, by using the shortcut here, Control down. So you will see that the numbers match, all right? But this is too little. We should be able to see more, isn't it? We should be able to analyze this. So let me follow a different approach, and then I finish with the examples that I brought today. What if we had an AI such as Copilot? We could ask Copilot to help us analyzing this data, right? And then, surprisingly, Copilot will start interacting, bringing context about this data set, like summarize the key statistics. things that happen when we are doing live demonstration. All right. We should read this here. The local files are not supported by Copilot anymore, so let's save these. This is the kind of things that you will face when exploring this tool. Let's see if it's going to work now. Yeah, not working. So let's try a different approach. Python Copilot again. Analyze using Python. Let's be more straight to the point and see if Copilot is going to bring something cool here. There is another way to invoke Python, but I'm trying to be more clear that I want to use Python here. The thing with the LLMs is that usually we don't understand how the AI got that reasoning. They are reaching the reasoning. So here is the analysis made with the AI, but if we see the sources, we can try to find something else. But let me show the other way. If we go to data, let me close this here, close this here. If we invoke the analyze data, we have that tool that provides some insights, right? And we could ask for a more advanced analysis. And try to find some insights. Let me try something different here. Yeah, let me open the other examples because I will figure out what I was thinking. I just lost the train of thought here. I have a better example where Copilot can provide Python codes. So that's because I changed the direction of the presentation on the fly. Let me open the examples first. About the iris flower, there's something that I want to show here. This is the training of the data set. We are using a classification model. It's called decision tree. And then we have a function which help us predict the species. This is what I wanted to show. This is using the same definition structure that I presented on the beginning with the most simple examples. And then the trick is that we can use the function with this kind of table here that is using random numbers. And then once we have random numbers, what is the species of this plant? The result is coming here with this Python function. So the purpose of the classification is that we train the model to understand the characteristics of each plant. And then we apply on new examples. This is what I wanted to show. You have the file, you have the way to analyze deeper after the presentation, because it's exactly the same file that I'm showing here. Some of the labels are in Portuguese, but this is called confusion matrix. It's a concept that you will understand from data science material. Let me show you other example here. The second example is Titanic. The Titanic dataset is that classic one that shows which passengers survived or not. And then you can also train the data set. And once you have new data, you can try to predict if they will survive or not. Python is here, editor. Here is what I wanted to show you before with a PDF that didn't open. When you see Python tutorials or scripts on the internet, usually you will find a row like this, pd read CSV, and then the path for the file. But the problem here is that this implementation of Python in Excel doesn't have access to the system, to the folders, local folders. It is a solution that is cloud-based. So in a way to access the files, to have access to them, you must bring them by Power Query, as I showed you before. And then rather than using this function here, you are going to use this function here, right? This is a better explanation than the other before, because I have both ways of writing classical Python, and then Python in Excel will use this way here, right? And then you can have some statistics. When you don't have any kind of print here, you won't see result directly on the cell. There are lots of examples where you will see none, but then you can see the scripts here. If you go to the original page that I got this, you will find the same statistics because they use the exactly same script. The only difference is the way we load the data into Excel, right? And then these are the results. We don't have any chart here, but the other examples we'll have, and then we will evolve with the Walmart example. This one is decomposing time series, and it's useful to help predict some series in case of seasonality, of course, because there is no divinatory system here. If we have data that follow a certain trend, for example, during Christmas or during whatever the holiday, we have more sales or less sales. We can predict the movement by removing the noise. There is always a random data that we cannot understand the reasons. We call them random, we call them noise. And then we have the other components, and then we can understand better the forecast. You can also check the code here by formulas editor, and then you can see more how these charts were invoked, the libraries that we are using. This example is being brought from Power Query. And then we have all the definitions of the charts here. All the code is done here, including the titles. Let's suppose that, well, I should bring this in English. So this one here, moving average, sales and forecast. Then we can press save or Control Enter here in the end, and then you see the change here. All right, so you start playing with this code. Start by the strings, by the text, and see what happens, and then you start tweaking some numbers, and you will be able to discover more, like what happens if I change this line width here and save. 20 is a lot, so let's see what happens. All right, so start playing with this code. The example is there, and you will learn lots of things from the example. Let me just show the latest one so that we can finish. The diabetes is a classic example that is brought from the libraries. This is a correlation matrix that shows that certain symptoms will appear usually together. So the correlation is high from symptom 2 and 4, and you can find interesting stuff here. And the case 5 is from Copilot, Farmers Market. This is a data set from New York Open Data. I brought from a public source, and then I used Copilot to bring certain analysis here, including a clusters scatter plot with different colors. This was made by Copilot. It was working seamlessly the day I tried. And let's see here if I can provide, we should save again. This is not saved. Not to this PC. And then this is the last one, the last example. Once we saved on OneDrive, we can ask Copilot to analyze this. And if we are lucky, it will invoke some Python codes. And this is another way to learn from the examples provided by AI as well. Fingers crossed. Analyze with Python. They are always changing the models inside, so some examples need to be adjusted along the time. If this attempt doesn't bring any Python code, I will put an extra example, a bonus example on my LinkedIn, and then you follow me there that you will see the bonus example. But you know, we are live, so drop the questions on the Q&A, and yeah, it's taking up time. Yeah, we don't have the Python code here, or we have maybe. You need to wait for the rendering here. You see, now we have the code here. You can explore from the examples. You have the code inside here. If you click this small button, this is what I wanted to show you before. You can see the codes here, JSON code as well, not only Python. This is the presentation. I'm going to provide examples on LinkedIn as a follow-up of this session. Drop the questions on the Q&A, and it's a pleasure to show you this here.
Hi, Cristiano. I felt for you there with the Copilot stuff, because I tried to put some Copilot at the end of my presentation, but mine was recorded, so I just cut that bit. I couldn't get it to behave at the moment because mine's a beta version as well, and mine's just like, yeah. But yeah, I'm sure it'll come back to working, I'm sure. But live, I thought it was very brave of you to do it live. So that was a really great presentation of Python and Excel. What are the improvements you'd like to see to Python and Excel from the way it is now?
One that is already done, it's the way we can tweak the initialization. That was something that I asked Microsoft.
I've not seen that before. The last time I looked, you couldn't edit it. Yeah, I was quite impressed when you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the other day I was trying to do again, and then I thought, wow, this is still read only. Why? After all this time, then I started asking Microsoft that there is a particular team that takes care of this part, and surprisingly, they decided to release that change, and now it's editable. That is a great step because certain code we want to ensure it's executed during the beginning, and that is very useful. Owen Price has posted something about that. I really recommend that, especially the advanced users that are watching this session, this event, follow him as well, because he has recently content about that specific part. But about evolution, I wish that Copilot could bring more options of Python for Excel, Python in Excel, because if you put on inside Copilot, teach me Excel, actually, teach me Python in Excel or Python for Excel. That Copilot prompt will generate the following outcome. You will see the same kind of imports that people do on Kaggle. That requires that PD reader, that CSV reading. So that is not possible to be done inside Python in Excel. So the outcomes from AI should be fully compatible with the reality we have about Python in Excel. So it should tell you must import by using Power Query and use the Excel function so that you can transform that into a data frame.
Yeah.
I wish they should be more compatible, because the challenge now is that many people are coming from the classic data analysis in Excel to data science, and then they want to learn Python. Usually they don't have the time to go through online courses that will explain from the basics, the different types of variables, and they usually don't have this time. So they could be learning with AI step by step in a more hands-on approach, and I wish this would be possible. I think you have to share some video now and a survey.
Yes, I will show the survey. Yeah, thanks a lot, Cristiano. That's great. And
Yeah,
thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this live, and it's really great to speak with you here. People can follow me on LinkedIn. Let me put in the chat, and then you share on
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah, on the best way you can. And thank you very much. It's been a great event. I'll be here watching the other sessions as well, and it will be a pleasure to speak with the attendants as well later on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Cristiano.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Sorry, I'm just resharing there. Go. The slide's just on its way to your screen, and then I'll put the evaluation page on now. If you'd like to leave any comments for Cristiano, that would be great.
Just a note, there was an issue with the evaluation forms or the feedback form. We're currently getting all the presenters added to it. So if you don't see Cristiano on there yet, which I don't think he's quite on there yet, he'll be on there in a moment.
Or you can just leave a comment for him on someone else's, and we'll just make sure it gets attached to the right person. If you want to give any feedback right now, that'd be great. Okay, so the next step after Cristiano will be